And today we're talking all about mindset, how to set the tone, how to win your mindset, and how to clear it because you're definitely going to need it for wholesaling. So I know a thing or two about this because I've been through so many mindsets and I understand it. So we have a mindset, and all that means is everything that goes on inside your head. And I know it's a lot. And if you're like me, remember I'm self-diagnosed ADHD. Is actually I'm much more than that now. Is there's so many thoughts, so many questions, so many reactions going on in your head. And unless you can manage that, it will actually drive you crazy. And I'll show you how that works because you got to understand the one thing you have to understand first, and this is the biggest step everybody skips in mindset. You ready? Oops. It's your mindset. It's not your dad's. It's not your mom's. It's not your siblings. It's not your friends. It's not your cousin, not your uncle, not your aunt. It's nobody's business on the streets, nobody's business on the internet. In fact, you own your mindset. It's the one thing you control. It doesn't matter. You can, as long as you're breathing on this planet, you have control of your mindset. And if you will accept the fact that you have control of everything that goes on your mind, this is the one part you have 100% control. There is no variance on this. And you're going to learn there's a lot of stuff in wholesaling you cannot control. But the one thing for fact is you can control everything in this head. And as sooner you accept that fact, the easier it is to manage. A lot of you think that you really don't control your own mindset. And I don't understand where you're going with that. So once you understand that within these boundaries, you are the creator, you are the designer, you let all the thoughts in, you let everything come in, and you decide how to filter it out to have this outcome called mindset that you apply to your life, not just wholesaling, everything you do. And it's your mindset. So once you know it's your mindset, you understand step number 2 is most of you are setting your mind based on the actions of people closest to you and the people you will hang around the most. And when you're young, unfortunately, the people that you grow up with and the people that influence your mindset the most are your peers, the people you went to school, people you have zero control. Let's face it, you got thrown into school, your parents put you there, you became friends, great kids, but you have no idea of their mindset other than when they were kids. And most of you lock on these people forever. And you want to know why you got like some garbage in your head. The reality is most of you are stuck thinking that everyone around you, you're supposed to have the exact same mindset. So if you know 95% of this world is pretty much screwed up in their mindset, why would you ever set your mindset to the people that are closest around you? In fact, one of the hardest truths I've had to accept is my parents' mindset just didn't help me a lot. In fact, my parents gave me a very simple mindset and I let everybody around me govern it. So if you're from the age of like 12 to 17, that's when you're most influenced by everybody around you. Why? Because you want to fit in. It's awkward. You're going through growth spurts. Your face changes daily. Your body changes daily. And you just want to be accepted as a kid. We've all been there. And some of you were just coming out of it. And I get it. But the reality is once you start conforming to try to fit in the cliques, I'll give you perfect examples. Listen, I like sports team, anything that's competitive and thrives you. But let's face it, they do become cliquey. When you join certain clubs, they're looking for a certain type of I guess, mindset. And then it goes on to all the social clubs you go on. And then when you go into college, we start really clicking with fraternities and sororities. And honestly, it's about who's going to fit in and like you the most. And if you start adapting to that lifestyle, man, your mindset gets ruined quick. In fact, once you're out of school, I'm going to show you right now is most of your thinking and acting like a 9-to-5er. It's herd mentality. I did it. Why? Because that's all I knew. That's all I got taught. Go to college, get a good job. Go to college, get a good job. Nobody ever said, hey, Rick, go out there and do whatever you want in this world. Now, I had the ability to make that decision on my own. I was too young. I was too immature. And honestly, I didn't find a great mentor when I was young. In fact, I craved for one. I just never got it. And that happens. Like sometimes you get good ones. Sometimes you guys get bad ones. But the reality is you're like me. You tried the job, you tried the education, and then you went to it. When you go to a 9-to-5 job, it is like the biggest life suck of your life. You're like, is this all life has to offer? You start questioning everything. And 9-to-5, it's like a herd mentality. Everybody comes in, they have a system. And let's face it, we try to kill as much time as we humanly can to get through the day. And that's your 9-to-5er. And if you accept the 9-to-5ers, you're pretty much done at this point. And so I've been there. So I've been reinvented since doing this. Now, here's the problem. I let the 9 to 5, well, my 9 to 5 was like 7 to 7, is it choked me out after 12 years. It took me 12 years of complacency to say, there's got to be something better than this out there. And my goal of today's video, if I can just wake up one person and go, listen, you were never meant to be mediocre. Like, not even in the slightest. In fact, I'm here to tell you, God wants you to step up and do great things in your life. He or she, or like whatever it is, they never wanted you just to go work on someone else's dreams and kill all your dreams together, because that's what you do when you take a salary. However you want to cut it. I'm not knocking it. I've done it too, but I'm here to tell you, please stop letting others set your mindset. That's the biggest problem. Honestly, most of you haven't even owned your own mindset. You let your parents push it until you're in your early 20s. And if you're like me, your parents keep pushing it no matter what age you are, because they had you as a child and their job is just to protect you. But if they truly want what's best for you, they should let you go out and do what's going to give you the most fulfillment. Now, I'm not one of these guys that says go out there and just do whatever makes you happy and you'll never work a day in your life. I don't really believe in that. It doesn't. I mean, that sounds great in theory, but that's not the real world. Maybe for 1 out of 20, it works out that way. Do you think I grew up as a kid and go, man, I can't wait to be a wholesaler. I can't wait to flip real estate. Honestly, I probably would have as a kid if I was excited about it. But the reality is, it was going to give me the tools to give me the lifestyle that I wanted. And I was willing to do the work for it. And that's, boy, if somebody carved my mindset at like 14, 15 like that, it would have been crazy. So here's the problem with most of your mindsets. Most of your mindsets is formulated by everybody else around you. In fact, if you're in your early 20s or late teens, your mindset, I'm here to tell you, it's not even your mindset, because you let everyone else filter their crap in there. And you've got a lot of stigmatism, like just stuff that you're just stuck on. And you can't change because you feel like that's the way you are. Well, I'm here to tell you, you're going to have to change to make this change. So stop letting others set it. Look on the screen right below. Stop letting others set your mindset. That's my biggest pet peeve and rule. So I want to go through a few exercises here and let you understand how this works. So the first thing you have to do to take control of your mindset. So if you fall in the trap and you've let other people form your mindset, recognition is step number one. Go, crap, I can't believe I let all this stuff in my head. My parents screwed me up. My friends are screwing me up. Let's face it. Like, why do kids even go out and like drink and try to do things they're not supposed to? Why? Because they want to fit in. That's the only reason they do it. Nobody drinks just to like do it for a social stigmatism. And your mindset's the same way. Your mindset's set right now because you let everybody else design your life. They was trying to tell you exactly what to do. And honestly, you thought it'd be the shortcut if you took their advice. But you didn't realize you're going to get the same crappy life as them if you did that. And if they're not happy, why would you want that lifestyle? So the first thing you got to do is just stop letting others set it. How do we do that? I mean, please stop worrying about what can go wrong. Honestly, as human beings, we spend more time trying to figure out everything that's going to go wrong with our life. And did you know 95% of the time, none of it ever comes to fruition? So that means you spend 95% of your mindset thought process obsessing over things that are never, ever going to happen. There's no benefit to you. And then when you overthink things, especially in the negative aspect, it taxes your mind and you create this thing called anxiety. And all anxiety is the fear of something that's going to come true in the future. It hasn't come true. You're just playing around in your mind. And so guys, I'm telling you, your mindset, it is you. You are 100% control of it. Whatever you let in and whatever you let out is completely up to you. So you have to guard your mindset. So number one is to become aware. Number two, I want you to understand, stop worrying about what can always go wrong. That's never going to stop. Now, okay, well, I don't understand, Rick. So if you stop worrying about what can go wrong and understanding it is a complete trap, because the human mind is designed to find negativity over positivity. Why? Because at one point you were a creature of, you were being preyed on by much larger animals. And your instinct had to kick in everything. And your gut instinct, everything was designed to avoid predators and stay alive. And the idea is when you're being chased by a predator, you are under tremendous stress. And the stress is supposed to keep you alive. You run a little bit faster, you get excited. But here's the problem. A lot of you are under constant full-time stress, no matter what's going on. And you've misunderstood the messages of the universe. And I'm here to tell you, it's because you don't have the right mindset. You let everybody infiltrate your mind and you constantly think about what's going wrong. So if you see yourself in this pattern constantly, what I want to do is show you how to replace it. You see, studies show that if you obsess about negative things that have never happened, you're literally just taxing your body and your mind. You're going to create anxiety, and anxiety is worrying about something that has not happened yet in the future. And when your body gets out of alignment, that's how you get disease. That's how obesity comes in. That's how all sorts of sicknesses come in. So you've got to rid yourself of this. Your body should not be in stress 24/7. So if you're constantly find yourself, oh my God, Rick, I'm thinking about everything go wrong when I start wholesaling. What if I get in a contract and I can't get out of it? What if I get called to the plate on deposit? What if I can't find a cash buyer? Oh my God, Rick, this is so overwhelming. And just cut the crap out. Why don't you do this? Just think about all the things that can go right. Is it fair to say, as much as you know that everything can go wrong, just as many or more things can go right? And honestly, what you talk about, what you focus on, tend to what you shoot for. So if you keep talking from that negative mindset, you're eventually going to have a self-fulfillment. So instead of pondering and obsessing over the negative things that could happen, you have to focus on the positive. Are there going to be some bad things that happen? Yeah, but the positive should way outweigh it. And I think back to when I started wholesaling, and I did this, I thought about all the things that could go wrong. I immediately started finding ways that it could go right. Because here's the reality. Most of you guys beat the crap out of yourselves and you don't set yourself up to win because you set your, your expectation, your mindset so low because you let everybody around you infect you. Why don't you just set some boundaries, stop the negative thoughts that come out of your head about it, and find the things that can go right. What can go right in wholesaling? I don't know. I can make $1 million net, put in my bank account. Oh, I can become financially free. I don't have to depend on my boss and his measly 1% 401k. Oh, I can take advantage of the US tax code for corporations and basically give myself a 33% pay raise. Oh, I can control my time. I can control what contracts I take. I control everything. I get financial freedom. I get freedom on my time. I know I'm going to bust my butt to get there, but the reward is there for me. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to have hard times. I'm just saying, look at the end goals of what you want to get. And everything, one of those things I just told you came true in my life. And if I sat there and obsessed over all the negative stuff that could have gone, it would have scared me back into my old job. But here's the difference is my back was so against the wall and I let the pain get so painful. For 12 years, I just accepted the norm. And the whole point of me shooting this video is saying, please don't wait till your company drives you to the point where you go, I got to figure this out now. So if you have that choice to make it while you're young, or you are in between jobs, or you've decided to go ahead and make that change, why don't you find what can go right? Because it cannot be any worse than what you got going on now. And that's how I spelled it out. It's how I spelled it out to my wife. And my kids were too young when I did it. And I said, what's the worst that can happen? And I know that's kind of a negative thing, but like I was so down. I hated my job with a passion. I hated my boss. I didn't believe in what I sold in. And if you don't believe in what you sell in, you're never going to be, there's no future in it. And I knew there wasn't a future. So I had to find my exit strategy. And that's honestly where I found wholesaling to be the best. Now, I'm telling you, you were not made for mediocrity. There was nowhere in your DNA, it was written in there like, you need to go punch a 9-to-5 job. You need to do data. You need to do sales. You need to go make somebody else rich and give up all your time, dreams, and aspirations to get off a week or two whenever you want, a week or two once a year, according on your boss's terms. That sounds like a modern day prison. I don't want you there. I've been there. I was hand shackled as hard as I could. I hated every moment of it. And I'm just telling you, that's why I got frustrated and it took me 12 years. And that's what I want to teach you, like right here, is I didn't know. You know why? Because I accepted everybody else's attitude and mindset around me. And then I quickly adopted that as my mindset. And this is how I wound up in a mediocre corporate job. And then we all try to compare ourselves. Well, he's making 80,000 a year. I make 85. It's not as terrible. I'm sorry. Don't try to dress it up and don't try to cater it. And you know what? You comparing yourself to the Joneses, the people next door to you, that is the bigger problem we have here. At one point, here's the biggest flex you can do on anyone. Wake up at 9:30, 10 o'clock and do what you want every day of your life. God did not set a clock. You know, these people say, I got up at 4 a.m. and I worked out. I did all that. I've done all that stuff. You don't get credit for you. God's not going to give you credit for you, and wholesaling's not going to. They don't care. In fact, I'm here. There's no one to talk to from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's 5 hours. So if you want a trophy for waking up the earliest, you get a trophy, but it's not going to make that big of a difference in your life. Now, if that's what you have to do, then I fully respect it. If that's what you want to do, I fully respect it. But don't do it because this guy shot a video and said, if you don't wake up at 4 a.m., you're never going to get it going. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make a sense. I'd rather you work till 11 o'clock at night and working with sellers and cash buyers and everything through the evening and getting great contact rates, or working out later in the day. I don't care, whatever works for you. But remember, it's your mindset. You have to guard it. You've got to stop accepting mediocrity because you are completely surrounded by mediocrity. Now, how do we do this? Number one, stop worrying what others think about you. Stop worrying what others think. It's literally killing you. This right here on what I have right here on the screen, probably one of my biggest issues when I started wholesaling. I didn't get the memo. I thought my job was to make everybody happy around me, and it's not. You won't do it. I've tried it. It doesn't work. It's ridiculous. Now, if you have ADHD, it adds a whole nother level to it. But I'm here to tell you, you got to stop worrying what everybody else thinks. And the minute you bring up wholesaling to anyone who's never done it, oh, you're going to try one of those, or is that a scam? And remember, you're not on their team anymore. So to try to keep you recruited on their team, they've got to talk about you and they've got to drive you down. And what they're trying to do is attack your mindset. And a weak mindset will fall for it. A strong mindset will never, ever fall for this. So rule number one, stop worrying about what others think of you. It doesn't matter. Now, I know everybody cares what their loved one thinks of you. And the best way you can do is take care of them. And if you do great at wholesaling, you take care of your family. That's how you show them you love them. But that's the bottom line. If you constantly are seeking the validation for others to find out what you're doing is okay, you're not going to get it because 95% of the world doesn't think this way. So you're going to get 95% answers. You're going to get rejection. You're going to get hate, and you're going to get people talking bad about you. So now I want you to understand this. I've been on this earth 54 years. This statement's going to hit hard right here. You ready? You don't have as much time as you think you do. Let me repeat that. You don't have as much time as you think you do. Time is ticking very fast. We are like a gnat on this earth. We're here 1 second, gone the next. You should make every day count. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you keep saying, oh, I got more time, you don't. It's a known fact. At some point, we will not be here. Maybe your kids remember you, your kids remember, and then no one's going to remember your name. So we all know where we're going. So you might as well jump in because you ain't getting out of this thing alive and just enjoy it. Your mindset is yours. It can be never taken from you unless you allow someone to take it from you. And that is a problem for me. So if you know you don't have as much time as, and you know you want others to stop worrying about others thinking what they think of you, then I want you to do this. There's number three. Step number three, you got to stop negotiating with yourself. I get it. But once you negotiate with yourself, you basically keep lying to yourself and you just keep working it. And so if I go and decide I'm going to run on a treadmill for 30 minutes, which I did right before I got here, it's much easier for me to accept 20 minutes. Why? Because it's easier. So once I say 30 minutes, I said, unless I have a devastating injury, I have to go 30. I do not let myself negotiate. And once you understand you can eliminate the possibility of negotiating with yourself, it will change in what you do. So then when you set clear-cut goals, you have to push harder to get them. Most people set goals and they just negotiate the entire line. Well, the weather's bad today. Well, it's snowing out. Oh, it's raining. Oh, it's hot. Oh, it's cold. I didn't wear the right pants. Excuses. I'm not even going to go over excuses. That's not the excuse show. You have to understand this. Stop negotiating with yourself. If you set something, do it. It's called discipline. It's painful at first. And once you start to recognize and you give yourself the credit you deserve, you'll feel better about yourself and your confidence will shoot through the roof. If you constantly try to lower your standards to get by, you're just lying to yourself and you're going to create huge mindset problems. So I want you to understand that. Now, it's a great quote that I love to hear from Jim Rohn. If you're not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. Meaning, if you don't want to take a swing at life, you need to accept what ordinary is. That's 95% of the people on this earth. Some by choice, some not. But for the most part, if you want an ordinary life, just accept the outcome now. If you don't, the first thing you got to do is get into that mindset and you absolutely have to fix. So here's this is the whole, like, the beef of what we're talking about. So you're going to have to make a choice here, especially when it comes to mindset. And I promise you, the stuff I'm going to share with you right now, you have to make a choice. You're going to have to make a choice on this live stream, or you can make it, you can rewatch it and rewind. This is live. You can come back and watch it. We're in 2024. Is you've got to understand, if you don't make a choice, you already made a choice. So you're going to have to choose your heart, because however you want to accept that life is hard, but you got to choose the level of hardness you want. The really cool thing is you have a choice to pick the path you want. And if you decide not to pick a path, it will be chosen for you. End of story. There is no negotiating this. I could go over any example you want, and we go ahead. So let's first talk about what is hard. Like, what does that mean? So if you ever met someone that was old that are in a nursing home, they're either going to do two things. They're going to brag about what an amazing lifestyle and the risks they took in life, or they're going to talk about the pain of regret. Let me ask you, which one's more painful? I already know the answer. If you don't know the answer to this, we need to talk, okay? The last thing you want to do is die with regrets, because you don't get a second chance to do this. So I rather you can have the pain of regret, or you can have the pain of discipline. You are going to have to make a choice. And if you go, I don't want to choose, I don't want to do anything, I promise you, you're going to get the pain of regret. I mean, life's going to go by you. You're going to be ordinary. You're not going to make a lot of money. You're not going to have control of your lifestyle. And you're going to constantly just talk about everybody else around you. And no one's going to talk about you at all. Sorry, this is the truth. And how you fix this is you got to start with your mindset. So make a decision: pain of regret or the pain of discipline. Think about this. Think about someone who decides not to be, like, when you're young, let's face it. I got overweight for a brief time in my life because I didn't understand how food worked and calories and macros. And I just got sick of it one day. I said, I don't want to live like this. And I had other people help me out, and I figured out how to do it. Now, the average person now, we process foods, all this other stuff. Nobody chooses to be unhealthy and overweight. Like, if everybody could snap their fingers, they would fix it. But you have two choices. You can learn to be fit and eat healthy. Usually it's a combo of both. Or you can have a doctor put you on medicine for the rest of your life and be very restricted in everything you can do in life. They're both painful. One is a choice, which to me has a lot better outcomes. And one is you get a short-term pleasure and you get a lot of long-term pain. So I want you to understand that when it comes to wholesaling, anything else, it's the same thing. So if we know the pain of regret, the pain of discipline, I want you to understand this. Discipline weighs ounces. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs a ton. Regret never goes away. One of the most painful things, if you ever see an older person, I see people in their 20s and 30s talking about the regrets. So you're better off trying it. And I'm not talking about like taking like life risk, but you being stuck in a 9-to-5 cubicle for the rest of your life. I don't know about you, man, but that sounds painful to me. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't work on your mindset, you're going to make a choice. Either you're going to put the discipline forward and get to the journey you want to get to, or you're going to let everybody else dictate for it, and you're going to wind up with the pain and regret. And the pain and regret is so much more painful. I've talked to more people. I get tired of hearing about people's regret. I want to cure it as fast as possible. So if you understand this, nobody's going to save you. A lot of you go, well, my mom, my dad, they're going to keep writing me a check. It's not going to last forever. They're going to kick you out. You can't live in the basement forever. And you have to go in. You got to start working on your mindset. Now, I've seen so many people commit to wholesaling and they never work on their mindset. And then they wonder why they fail. It's because you really didn't commit to your mind. Because the minute you start wholesaling, everybody comes at you. And if you can't guard this right here, you're like a dead man or woman walking. It's absolutely terrible. So if you know nobody's going to save yourself, nobody, I guarantee you think the government's going to save you? You got to be kidding me. The government's just trying to save their butt right now. On average, the average U.S. taxpayer owes $236,000 to cover the $34-35 trillion debt we have right now. I mean, wrap your head around that for a minute. So they're not going to save you. Your parents, let's face it, they haven't saved you by now. They ain't going to save you. It's going to be you. And here's the really cool part is you have the tools to do it. But most of you, like, you can't click on that mindset. We have to work on that. So instead of worrying about somebody saving you, I just want you to save yourself. And how do you do that? Start with a great mindset. You have to guard the information that comes in your head and you have to filter it. And you can't keep giving stupid things meanings. Okay. Everything that comes at you in life is your interpretation of reality. That's it. Like, for all I know, we could all be in a computer simulated game. We would never know the difference. It's just the truth, guys. So do you want to play the game to win, or do you just want to play small and get by? Do you just want to be like the little peasant that just like, let me move my rocks, give me my food? Honestly, guys, you can go live in jail. They'll provide 3 meals a day for you, give you a place to sleep, give you visitations, and then you can work a small job. It's the same thing you guys do 9 to 5. The only difference is somebody else is paying the bill when you do that. Just to give you a comparison. It's crazy. Here's the reality, guys. Wholesaling is as hard or as easy as you want to make it. That's it. Why do I meet some people that go, man, I love wholesaling. It's changed my life. It's one of the greatest decisions I ever made. And then other people are like, well, I started 6 months ago. It just sucks. I can't get anything to work. And I'm like, I already know where that conversation is going. Your mindset's broken. You got on the right boat. You've got the wrong program operating. And that's your mindset. Your mindset is basically the software to operate your body that's going to function and run your wholesaling business. And you've got to understand that. So I'm going to give you a last one here. And I want you to resonate this, because this took me till my 30s to figure this out. My son figured it out a lot earlier, but you can change anything at any time. You can change anything at any time. If you're not happy where you're at, you can change it. You can move. You can switch careers. A lot of you are connecting with me or my son right now because something's not working in your life. And I understand it. And if you've made that decision, it's not working, and you've decided wholesaling is the way to really get you where you want to go. I got 21 years experience to say it absolutely works. The question is, are you going to work on it? And without a great mindset, no matter what me and Zach teach you, it's not going to work. In fact, I'm telling you, it's going to even get more confusing. A lot of times I tell you guys, you come from your old jobs or you come from your schooling and you come in with that broken mindset. Like, I don't trust anyone. I'm going to do the stuff that resonates with you. I'm not going to do the other stuff. That's most of people's problems in wholesaling. They just pick and choose what they want to do. They don't really fully commit to learn the craft of wholesaling. And then they try to find the negative as soon as possible. Instead of trying to find solutions, if you wind up being negative, you do nothing but find excuses. And then once the excuse train comes, the fastest way down to the bottom. I can't help people do excuses. Once the excuses start, you can't make money in wholesaling. Now, I'm not saying there's valid issues, but if you constantly have an excuse, say we do a one-on-one, you're just like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, that doesn't work this. And my favorite one is it's like, I've tried everything. I'm like, why don't we start with your mindset? Tell me the 3 most positive things you started out doing today. Do you do any meditation? Do you talk positively about wholesaling? Do you talk about all the great things that can happen to you instead of focusing on all the negatives that could possibly never, ever happen to you? So do you focus on the negative, or do you stick to the positive? Which is your mindset? What are you doing? When you have a bad day, do you decide you're not going to wholesale because you just don't feel like it? See, if you have a bulletproof mindset, you control what goes on here. It doesn't mean you don't get upset. It doesn't mean you don't get pissed off about stuff. It just means I'm in control here, because everything going on in this crazy world, I have to take the information that's going to work for me and I have to process it. I have to apply it to make sure wholesaling works. Never more than today are more people coming at you in wholesaling trying to tell you the new way to do it and you got to try this. I'm telling you, they're all full of crap. Okay. You just got to do the work in wholesaling. Anybody who wants to teach you how to do the work and teach you this boring, redundant craft, because that's what it comes down when it is. And that's why we have such a disconnect on people selling wholesaling courses and the reality of the business. Because for them to jack their sales up, they're only going to tell you the positive. Me and Zach tell you everything. And I'm telling you, if you come into wholesaling, if you paid somebody 30 grand, or you go to freewholesaling.com for free, which most people wind up going there after their paid courses, you're going to come to the same conclusion. Whoever comes in with the best mindset is going to win. Whoever commits to wholesaling is going to win. Does this sound familiar? Like, you ever been in a relationship where you're just like half-assing it? It sucks. Why do you think wholesaling is going to be any different? Think about this. If you're ever like getting married, you're not going to talk about everything bad's going to go wrong. Well, if I get married, she's going to clean my clock. Then I got to do her laundry. And I don't know if she's a good cook. And then, I'm not sure we want to travel in the same places. And like, that's going to get you nowhere. And I want you to understand it. It's all in the mindset. It's not just wholesaling. It's everything you do in your life. And if you'll be passionate about it, and have fun and think of all the amazing things that can happen in your life, this business is fun. If you're just going to focus on the negativity, you will sink your ship so fast. And the minute people come in and they start like, wholesaling's BS, you can't do this, you can't do that. Remember, conviction's a big part of your mindset. Conviction are those steel walls that go up and go, I don't care what you say, you're not changing my mind. I spoke to Zach and Rick. His bad's been doing it 20 years. Zach's approaching 8 years, and they've made an amazing life doing it. And they practice what they preach. They actually do this business, and they love every minute of it. Who else does wholesaling for 21 years? I don't think there's anybody else out there that matches the enthusiasm for I do this stuff. Why? Because I love it. But I will tell you, my favorite part is when I shifted my mindset. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. It took me a long time. And what I did is I changed it a little bit each time. It would have been much better if I dove into wholesaling and I just went in with a complete open, positive mind. But guys, my back was against the wall 12 years. I had high motivation, and I don't want any of you guys to wait till that point. So that is everything on mindset. But I'm just here to tell you, you can't go into wholesaling without addressing your mindset, because without a great mindset, your software, no matter how much hardware you have, no matter how great your skills are in negotiating and marketing, you're never going to be able to put it all together. And so if you're missing it, stuff like that, great people to check out. Obviously, besides myself, my son Zach, can check out his YouTube site. Jim Rohn's one of the OGs on mindset, Annie Zig Ziglar, and Tony Robbins, because sometimes we just don't know. And so if you're struggling with your mindset, you don't think it's right, sit down with someone who loves you and ask them about your mindset and tell them to give you the truth. And do not criticize them when they tell you it. And when they tell you to, find a way to work on it. And there's plenty of exercise to do, stuff like that. I'm not going to get into all that right here, but I gave you plenty of resources that you can check that out. And I want you to get the right mindset so you can have an incredible head start on wholesaling, because I see a lot of people right now, I just can't get them past their mindset, and there's nothing I can do. See, because the mindset's completely up to you. That's the one thing you will have 100% control. So if you bring like a kick-ass mindset to wholesaling and you absorb it like a child, it's fun. If you constantly sit there and go, I don't know if I can do that. That doesn't sound legal. I don't know if I can do that. That's why we teach you wholesaling. We teach you the fundamentals of wholesaling because it's been around for hundreds of years. It's not like these drop ships, these Forex, these online tradings, all this crap, because that's just pump and dump money so gurus can make a ton of money of you. How the gurus found wholesaling, it's kind of beyond me, but it's so easy to tell someone who's just selling courses. Just look at their argument with everybody. Look at all their paid ads. Look at everything. You got to do it their way or it's the highway. And I don't believe in that. I believe most people have valid points in wholesaling. I just think most people are misguided because they're trying to sell courses, because that's usually about 90% of their revenue. God forbid that ever gets disclosed. But me and Zach don't do that. We just tell you the truth, because without the truth, you have zero shot at wholesaling. So be honest with yourself, get the right mindset, get excited about it, start thinking about what can change in your life for the positive, and then just embrace it and learn it like a child and just have fun with it.